They chose her because they thought she was powerless. They didn't expect the shadows to fight back. The morning sun washed over Maplewood Diner, glinting off chrome edges and fogged windows. It was the kind of place meant for comfort: warm coffee, soft booths, the smell of butter and syrup hanging in the air. But that morning, comfort shattered. Near the window sat Clara, a young woman in a wheelchair. A plate of pancakes rested in front of her, untouched. Her hands trembled slightly as she tried to steady herself. She had lived her entire life learning how to be strong without being loud. Strength, however, does not make you invisible to cruelty. At the booth beside her, a group of teenage boys watched. They whispered, they laughed, and then they crossed a line that should never be crossed. One of them struck her plate, sending pancakes crashing to the floor. Another shoved her wheelchair back with a mocking push. The diner froze. No one spoke. No one moved. Shame hung heavier than the smell of coffee. Clara's face burned as she leaned forward, trying to pick up the mess herself. Not because she thought she should, but because humiliation told her she had to. She refused to cry, but tears gathered anyway. If you believe moments like this should never be ignored, pause for a second. Like this video. Subscribe to Shadows of Story. Share it, because stories only matter when they're told. Clara had been born with a spinal condition that kept her in a wheelchair. Her parents always told her her spirit was stronger than her body. Most days, she believed them. But that morning, the world felt determined to prove them wrong. The boys laughed louder. Other diners looked away. A waitress froze mid-step, fear written across her face. Only one man knelt beside Clara. Older, quiet, placing her plate back on the table with shaking hands. His kindness was real, but it was small, and the cruelty had already done its damage. Clara closed her eyes and prayed for the moment to end. Then the sound came, a deep rumble, low, powerful. Heads turned toward the windows as motorcycles rolled into the parking lot. One, then many. Engines thundered. Chrome gleamed. Silence fell like a held breath. The door opened. Men in leather stepped inside, calm and unhurried. Their presence alone changed the air. The laughter vanished. Confidence drained from the boys' faces. One man stepped forward, tall, broad, eyes sharp from a life that had taught him when to be gentle and when to stand firm. His gaze found Clara and softened. He knelt in front of her, blocking her from the rest of the room. In that moment, Clara didn't feel weak. She felt protected. Then he stood and faced the boys. His voice was quiet, steady. He didn't threaten. He didn't shout. But whatever he said stripped them of every ounce of arrogance. Chairs scraped back. Faces turned pale. One by one, they fled the diner, unable to look at anyone, especially Clara. Outside, motorcycles lined up like a silent wall until the boys disappeared. The man returned, paid for Clara's meal, and told the waitress to bring her anything she wanted. Then he removed his leather vest and draped it gently around her shoulders. "You're not alone," he said. "You're family." Clara cried, not from shame, but from relief, from being seen, from learning that sometimes protection comes from the unlikeliest shadows. The diner erupted in applause. Strangers wiped their eyes. A place that once felt cruel felt human again. Because darkness exists, but so does courage. If this story stayed with you, support the channel that tells the stories others won't. Like this video, subscribe to Shadows of Story. Share it so this message reaches someone who needs it, and tell me this in the comments. If you were in that diner, would you have stood up? Your answer might be the courage someone else is waiting for.